Welcome to the Blueprint Podcast, where we break down powerful stories, insights, and game-changing ideas from leaders shaping our world. But today, we are doing things a little differently. It isn't your usual episode. I am Asa Joseph, the producer of the Blueprint Podcast, and I'm stepping in as your host to take you through the journey of some of the most impactful conversations we have had so far. If you missed any of these episodes, this is your chance to catch up on some wisdom, lessons, and moments that made the discussions unforgettable. So join me as we dive in. We kick things off with Ronaldo Alexander, the mastermind behind the King of the Cage tournament. It isn't just a football tournament though, it's a movement, as you'll discover in our episode. Ronaldo took an idea from his childhood and turned it into one of the most exciting community sporting events in the country.
You did something that's different. You were bold enough to believe in yourself and your ideas. Were you afraid when you had to stand up to your dad and say, no, I'm not going into the army, no, I'm not going into whatever else it is. This is what I'm going to do. I'm taking control of my life, which you have no idea what the future would be. You know, what were you afraid?
Actually, no, I was not afraid. I was never scared at it once, because when somebody tell me I can't do something, I like to show that, yeah, I could do it. Yeah. You telling me this can't be done, I'm going to do it.
So if you have ever had a dream, but you are afraid to take that leap, Ronaldo's episode will give you the push you need. Next up, we switch things around, putting our very own host, Dr. Jelani Reid, into the hot seat. In a deep introspective conversation with Wendell Constantine, we uncovered the origins of the Blueprint, Jelani's passion for leadership, and the driving force behind this podcast.
How is it that you would know you will be a journalist if you never had the opportunity to participate in the school papers? How would you know that you would be a lawyer if you never, or a representative if you never participated in student council? That struck me. So the idea behind it is, this is where my true passion is I wanted to create a system where you have the best of both worlds and you can give the opportunities to as many people as possible.
If you want to understand why the Blueprint exists and the man behind the vision, this episode is a must watch. The privilege was ours to sit down with Mr. Leonard Hinkson, the former principal of the Queen's Royal College, an educator, a mentor, and a leader. He shared invaluable insights on shaping young minds and the role that teachers have outside of the classroom.
It's almost a cliche in education. They don't care how much you know. Teacher comes into the classroom and thinks that he knows more than anybody else. No, they don't care about your knowledge. What they care more about is that you care about them. And once the student realizes that, they will do almost anything for you, and that's what you want. You want the student to be interested in what you are bringing to him.
For educators, parents, or anyone interested in the next generation, this episode is pure gold. Many Trinidadians would find episode 4 particularly interesting. It discusses media leadership and the 1990 coup. Few people can say that they lived through history like Richard Purcell, a media veteran. He gave a first-hand account of the 1990 attempted coup in Trinidad and Tobago and the lessons it taught him about leadership, crisis management, and resilience.
Everywhere I go, I identify a safe room. Somewhere I can go if anything happens and just hold out there until it ends.
Right.
So I had a room identified at TDT actually.
Right.
So if you're interested in media, history, or what it takes to lead during uncertain times, this episode is one that you do not want to miss. Law, wisdom, and legacy. Who better than Senior Counsel Elton Prescott, a legal giant whose career spans decades. We talked about the evolution of the legal profession, the challenges young lawyers face today, and the importance of mentorship in the field of law.
There was a time too when I started that all of the activity within the profession, including the trials, were virtually done in the open. That is to say, any young lawyer could come into the court and sit there and learn by observing certain things. That has considerably been reduced. We now move into small courtrooms, 10 by 10, the judge, the witnesses, that sort of thing. And since COVID and we've introduced remote hearings, etc., that has reduced it even more. So that the opportunities for learning are very limited. And we haven't equally introduced internships.
Yes.
Although people do turn up at firms and spend some time learning, if we had an apprenticeship or internship system, that might have done more for the quality that you get.
For aspiring lawyers or anyone interested in leadership and justice, this episode is a masterclass. This was just a glimpse into the powerful conversations we have had thus far on the Blueprint podcast. Each guest brought something unique. Real stories, real inspirations, and real lessons. But don't stop here. Go back and watch the full episodes because, trust me, there's so much more you can take in. Now, I want to hear from you. Which episodes stood out the most? Drop a comment, reshare this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the Blueprint podcast. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and join the movement. We're just getting started and there's a lot more to come.